Hey, girly gamers and crew. As promised, I'm going to share with you all of the characters that we've met so far in my cafe, and you can read a little bit of their backstory. However, I did check and saw that it doesn't give the full history of everyone's story, so I'll try to fill you in when I see that something has been missing. I've been playing again for 14 levels, so of course a lot has transpired since the very beginning, and especially from the people that's been here the entire time. Some of these people that just came, their story might be all told, but not everyone. Okay, so Anne is our barista, and of course she doesn't necessarily have a story, air quotes, but she will explain to you different things about the game. As I told you in a different video, but it's reemphasized here, when they have a coin icon above their head, we'll collect money that way. So if you just tap it, they'll collect the money. You'll get some little star points to go towards going to the next level. Explains what you have to do as to move the furniture, and every level we are able to go up on our prices for items. Okay, and as I told you before as well, the green range is where you want your money to be. There's a light green and a dark green. The dark green is where I keep all my prices. Okay, price color key. Green customers are sure to buy the item. As I said, yellow, you'll get people that will refuse, and red, no one's going to buy it. So you always want to keep that dark green. Okay. So manually, sometimes if the item that they want is pretty quick, I'll serve the customers myself and see what they want and bring them the dish. Other times, if it's a drink that asks for a full recipe, I'll just leave it for the server to get and have the barista make it. I tap the machines to make drinks that help the staff. They don't, every time they collect a drink, they don't click the machine right away. I wish that was something that you can get changed, and I don't know if you can, but when they do that, every time you need a new drink, the next person will go up and have to make it manually. So a lot of times when I come into my cafe, that's one of the first things that I look for. I see if there's any drinks that need to be tapped, and I'll go ahead and create them so that way the drinks are just sitting there waiting for them, or if there's any desserts or any other food items that need to be made. Let's see. You can try mixing different ingredients to get new recipes. Every level, you have access to new recipes. And Klofsky, he's the one with, I was supposed to say the one with the glasses, but he's the sixth one in with the glasses right there in the middle of two other guys with glasses. Klofsky, he's good, very good for every level that you go to. If you click on him, he'll give you hints, and then if you can correctly guess what the recipe is, then he'll give you gems rather, for getting that. So that's what that's saying here. You can either just mix up different ingredients, because some simple, like mint tea, all it is tea and some mint. That's simple. Then there's certain ones that might ask for different flavorings and whipped cream and ice and all of that. So every level, as I said, when you get the new recipe, they get happy, they get more points, and it says new recipe. And then when the person orders it, of course, they can order that new recipe, and that's of course more money. All right, now you can hire a server to serve the customers at the tables. Then it tells us what to do to get that. Right now, there's a total of 4. I don't know if you can get like a 5th or a 6th employee, which I would like more staff if it gets really, really busy and big, which I'm assuming it will be. But right now, you kind of can keep it more contained, even with just the 4. So there really might not be a need. I've already purchased and installed a service table. Obviously, I forget what level that happens at, but your service table is where your servers put their orders in for the baristas to fill. And I have that in between where I have my tables and my furniture, and my food and drinks are all separate. To get more jewels, we can watch commercials. and tap the TV to do that. And right now I only have 9, so I'll do that when I have some time. I'll just click on commercials and let them play so I can get jewels each commercial that I watch. And it talks about the special spices, which we'll go into that in a different video as well. And I forgot about that part. Anytime somebody requests an item with special spices, I have to do that myself manually. The servers only do the regular dishes, and special spices are the spices that I showed you, like nutmeg and tapioca and stuff like that. Rose petals, those are special spices, and they don't ever serve those. So anytime they want that request, I have to do it. And if they request it, then it's going to have a little explanation point for me to fill it in whenever I log back into the game. And that gives you the breakdown of the gifts that I showed you before. What the simple gifts have, that's a gold bag. I didn't show that one. It's a gold bag with certain spices in it. The pink, the blue, and the simple, the pink, the blue, and the gold. And the holiday prices is what I showed you before. To the right, the middle icon with the drink and the dollar sign there. When it's a balloon, it's a holiday, we can raise our prices. And it gives you a timer of how many hours you have before the prices need to go back to normal. And if I'm not in the game when it changes and I come back in, instead of a balloon, it will be an explanation point that will show that it needs attention for me to adjust the prices on there. I already bought a phone, so we are taking phone orders. And that's how I can get some of the special rare spices as well. And then it shows how you can assign employees to do the phone orders and deliver it. And it shows how to change your clothes, which I'm fine, honestly, with what they wear. A lot of people complain and say it's too bland, but I was fine with it until I received the twins. With the twins, I needed to differentiate which one was which, so I changed one of their shirts so that way she would stand it. I knew when I select which one, I know which one it is when I want to assign her a job, because in her icon picture, her shirt doesn't change. It's still white, but I can see their name. If I click on the little information tab above their head, it shows me which is their name, and that's when I know which one is which. Which I believe Karina is the one with the tan shirt. Yeah, and the special spices recipes, there's a little box over each customer's head. Well, not all the time, but when they want a special recipe, you'll see a box. And if it's white, pink, or blue, and gold, those are specialty recipes that they have. They also have a regular recipe as well that, again, the servers will get. But if they have a box with a color in it, they want a special recipe. And then, of course, the white one is the simple gift, and then the other three matches the gift boxes that you have certain spices in, and they're requesting additional one of those spices according to the color coded boxes over their head. Sometimes I have it, sometimes I don't, but that's how that goes as far as the spices. And then if you can continually fill all their orders, you get a special gift for that. Okay, now as far as a township goes, I'm in one. Um, I'm a part of one though. I joined one. I don't have my own. I was thinking about possibly creating my own, but I just knew as far as that goes, I would like a group of people that are consistent, enjoy playing the game, and will be active in the festival so we can have a very powerful township and go throughout the ranks. The township information is going to be in a separate video because this can be very lengthy going through all the characters. But I was thinking about possibly creating my own township, a two geek girls township where we just go in there and we pretty much can take over and run it. As long as we're consistent. Like for me, I'm easily my last township. I almost had 3,000 points, and I've only been in this township now for about 3 weeks, but I'm consistent. I'm in there. I'm a part of it every week. As soon as they drop the task, I'm always signed up. So, but more about that later. I don't want to take up too much time for this particular video. Okay, so as far as the furniture and decorations, as long as you have stylish furniture and decorations with the same style, you get more tips. So right now my style is American, and it's consistent. I did have a mixture of, I think, Asian and one other, but I made it so that way everything in my cafe is one. And this guy right here, well, I don't want to, oh crap, I don't want to click on his name though, but Fernando is very helpful with keeping you up as far as what level you're on for your tips. So he is informing me that right now my tips, I think, are about 22% of what we sell. So that's always helpful. Let me go here. Where were we at? We were here. Oh, well, it said it. I was ahead of myself. Yeah. Find out from Fernando how much additional income you've earned. He always keeps you updated. I started off at like 12%, I think, when I started asking him. The reason why you upgrade your cafe's equipment is if you don't have enough funds to get a certain item in there, you can do a simplified version of it, but you'll be limited on certain recipes you can create. However, as time goes on and you get more funds, you can always upgrade until you can make all of the recipes that that item, that ingredient has. Okay, and I have a coffee. Oh, that's it. Okay, I have a coffee grinder. It. I think the coffee grinder is what I had where it was free. I actually haven't read this part of it. Let me see here. I need to also look at the special offers section of the store and find out about getting these additional machines when the special offers come, which I'm buying other stuff in the midst of it, so I always am not in the position to do so. But if I can, I would definitely love to get additional machines, especially when they have a machine that can make 3 drinks at one time. That is definitely going to be helpful. As I said, I have a coffee grinder and something for tea. One of them came with a free 7 day, no, a free 24-hour thing, little trial. And I used that until it was exhausted. And I haven't exceeded it, but I forget with the coffee grinder and whatever they have for the tea, you can increase your prices. Um, okay, so that's it for Anne. Let's move on to Mary Ditt. Okay, so a quick version about Mary Ditt is she came into our cafe and she was telling me about the love of her life, Kevin. Ben. Crap, Kevin is the soccer player. Ben. Ben and Mary was dating when she first visited us, and she was telling us about how cute he was and she liked how quirky he was and everything. Shortly after they get engaged and get married. And while that was going on, we were talking to Watson about about some about some suspicious activities going on in the city. Come to find out, Ben and Mary, where they first met was at an art museum, and um, some art was stolen, and it looked like Ben was the culprit. However, he changed when Mary and Ben got married. Ben changed his last name to Ditt. He took her name instead of her taking his name. So, with that going on, it basically showed that he was an art thief. He married her so he can get a name change. It was just a whole big story on that. So, Ben ended up going away for a while. They arrested him, and it came out that he might have been framed for this situation. So, he's now released, and they're actually in the midst of trying to find out who framed Ben. So that's where we're at with that. However, with Diego's cloak, you all saw what all happened with Mary as far as that. Um, she's trying to help find out about the inscription. So I know I'm going to try to speed this up because I don't want this video to be too lengthy. But this is that. You can always, I guess, freeze a frame if you want to read everything. As far as Mary, most recently, this is not everything, but most recently that happened with her. Now we're gonna go move on to Margaret. Margaret is a eccentric woman. She's been married. Oh, it says that. Okay. Um. Initially, Margaret is the one rather that told us about. She tells us about like everybody's story, suspicious things going on. Margaret has the information. Okay, if you want to know about pretty much anything going on in the city. She's also been married 13 times to the same man, and they used to rob museums together when they were young. I suspect that whoever this person is going to pop back up into the city, and we'll find out that maybe he framed Ben. I don't know. We haven't met anyone new yet that fits the description of who Margaret might have gotten involved with to be that guy, but I suspect that's going to happen because a lot of times somebody new will come to the city, and then we'll find out that they have some kind of connection to someone who's already coming to our cafe, or somebody new will come to the city and they'll start talking about someone, and then within the next level or so we'll meet a new person who's involved in that original person's story. So that's what I think is going to happen. You can read here about Margaret. We know about Margaret asking about the grandfather clock, so we don't have to say that's the last thing that happened. But here's Margaret's story. And again, you can press freeze frame on here to read about her. But that's pretty much Margaret. Margaret she has a lot of stories to tell you. Very funny character, very eccentric. Let's move on to Watson. Watson Holmes, and of course you know where that name is from. Alright, let's go back some. Okay, so apparently there's a vampire walking around. We're assuming Diego's sleepwalking. Let's see. What else can I mention? Okay, you can read this freeze frame as well. And if you have any questions, anything that I happen to not cover, please comment below. Okay. Okay. Now it mentions Edward and his brother. Okay. Edward is the twin of this man, Klofsky. Okay, and that's always interesting. He was in prison in the basement by his own brother, his twin brother. There is a history with Klofsky and his brother Edward with them being in love with the same woman. And I think she was with Klofsky first. Maybe Edward took her from him, and there's a whole big story on that. And basically, where we're at a lot of times when he does something a little suspicious, is his brother around. His brother's actually on the run now for I forgot what his part in the story originally was, actually, because I don't think he was the one that framed Ben. I don't think we found that out yet. So, but Klofsky's brother Edward is on the run right now, so they're trying to find him out. Okay, we're going to continue the story at level 18. Let's go back to Bill, our neighborhood IT guy. Okay, let's see. I think Bill can all fit on one screen, it looks like. Yeah, so you can press freeze frame to catch up on Bill. Basically, Bill is in a relationship with, I believe him and Mary is still together, and they've moved in together is where we're at. Mary, as I said, was initially involved with Ben with the glasses and the cell phone, but when all that mess happened, at like the day after they got married, they were married for like a day, and he got found out and was arrested. But the entire time, Bill always had a crush on her, so Bill and Mary actually got together, and now they're still together, and things seem to be going okay with them. I can skip over Kowalski, and I already spoke about Ben. Okay. And then Fernando, you can press freeze frame on his story. Fernando hasn't really had anything out of the story, really. He's just a successful businessman. He's pretty much gonna give me advice throughout the game about things to purchase, what can make me more money, all of that. So that's his addition. That's what he pretty much adds to the game. Um, yeah, and everything he's done, I follow. As I said, blue is what if you see a blue dot for the lengthy ones, is what I've accomplished and have done so far. Green is what I haven't done. So Fernando, we're caught up to speed, looking really, really good there. Let's go to Ron. He is a soccer player, as you can see, obviously. Him and Miss Cleo over here with the cell phone, with the pink cell phone, are together. They're dating. Um, yeah, as I said, Ron's story is very, very small. He came in. I forgot who had a crush on who. I pretty much hooked them up. We got them on the date, saw where things was at. Ron wasn't too interested in Cleo initially. When they went out on the first date, he said that she was boring, I believe, and we kind of worked through that. But nothing hasn't really gone on since that with them. Not like everybody else, like a lot of drama left. So Petrovich, here we go. Yeah, Petrovich came in like, hey, where's the drinks? It's not an alcoholic spot. So occasionally he brings that up. Let's see. Okay, he wanted a nut cappuccino. I obliged. I upgraded. I needed to upgrade my hazelnut in order to do this recipe, which we did. Okay, and you can press freeze frame on that if you want to read everything on him. Um, he's just a goofy, fun-loving character. Like, not anything going on. I think he got in some trouble when he was younger. He has a record, but he's starting his life over and everything. But he's an overall good guy. Now Miss Cleo with her pet. You can do. Oh no, that's not a freeze frame. Okay, let me kind of catch you up here. Yeah, that situation as I told you with Ron, um, but it's patched up. Not a big deal there. Um, then she apparently is not as popular on Instagram as she used to be. So she wanted a cup of espresso campana, and we obliged. Once we upgraded again our hazelnut for her, and she gave us some gifts. Okay, and that's it with her. Now let's go to Elsa. Okay, Elsa is Mary's biological mother. Um, Click on Mary real quick. Mary was adopted. Okay, and Elsa didn't come until very, very recent. Mary was there from the beginning. Elsa didn't drop until maybe 2 levels ago or so. She's very fresh. She's Mary's biological mother, and the young woman's father is Clyde Bowen. Okay, and right now Elsa has not told either one of them. And Mayor Mulligan, who's very shisty, had some business with Elsa's late husband. When Elsa showed up, Elsa was married with a little side situation going on with this guy. Her marriage, no excuse, but her marriage was pretty much dead. Her husband was totally involved in his life and his world and not showing her any quote unquote attention. So she got interested with the mailman, and within a very short period of time, it was a shooting at her house. And right now, we're trying to figure out who did it. And Kevin, the mailman, knows a few things about that. He was there when it happened. However, he had an alibi for the actual time of death. But we're trying to figure out who it was. And this man has some dealings, so we don't know if he is involved some kind of way or what. And she doesn't know anything about the mayor's fund. Okay, let's go to Kevin. It doesn't really bring up Kevin and Elsa's husband situation, but yeah, he was there in the house to talk to Elsa's husband about them being together. And I want to say another time, or maybe that time, they actually had a conversation about it. And the husband was kind of like, if you make her happy, blah, 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 they're supposed to be officially separated or something, just living in the same house. And he basically confirmed what Elsa said, because they don't have anything serious going on. Or what I mean by that is that their relationship hasn't gotten really physical, but yet they have had one or two encounters and they like each other and spending time with each other. So with that being said, before they took it too far, which I think that's personally far enough, but he wanted to make sure what the husband stood on things. And Kevin said when he was in the house, he smelled cigar smoke and saw something that suggested maybe a female was there, and he smelled cigar smoke. But then Elsa said something about her husband doesn't like smoke or he doesn't smoke himself, something like that. So that was very suspicious. Now let's go to Mr. Clyde Bowen. Clyde Bowen just walked in, I think level 13. He just walked in like last, the level before this one that we're in now, because we're about to move on to 15. And he was telling us that he was searching for his daughter, and he gave us a backstory on her and how to find her. So what I did was I had Bill look up people that was in our city, which the last 20 years was raised by a single mother. And with that information of a girl who 20 years ago was raised by a single mother in the town, we brought up this young lady here. And she was the only one. Okay. So with that being said, we said, oh, well, Emily must be Clyde Bowen's daughter. However, that was wrong. And the reason why is because his daughter being Mary was not raised by a single mother, Elsa, because Elsa had the baby and gave it away to adoption. So with Mary being raised by both her parents, she didn't come up in our search. So we gave Clyde Bowen the wrong information, unfortunately, and he took it very well, surprisingly. And but before that happened, Clyde Bowen being told that Emily was his daughter met her. They went out together and had a beautiful relationship. When we found the information, we honestly had to break it to them, tell them what was going on, and they were disheartened. And he said, "You know what? She needs a father. I need a daughter. We're going to continue this relationship regardless." Throughout the story, we found some information with Elsa, and she was telling us about her daughter being Mary, because with her looking the way she does and Mary looking the way she does, we assumed they were just close friends. And she found out, well, she's my daughter. And then she talks about Clyde, and that's when we find out, well, he's here too, and she says that he's the father. So we have to find more information about that. With that being said, since Clyde wants to stay around, and where's Clossie? Clossie's having money issues, they are now roommates. And Clyde is renting out part of Klossky's house. Okay, so we have to see how that relationship, that roommate situation is going on later. So now on to Emily. She is thrilled to learn that Clyde was her father, but then crushed to learn that it wasn't true after all. But Mr. Clyde Bowen decided to adopt her after all, so she's happy about that. We know about Shiesty Mayor Donald Mulligan. Okay. You can freeze frame all of his information if you like at a later time. He helped us out when it came to Klofsky and his mortgage payment, but yet it's only going to be a month's worth of help. After that, Klofsky has to find other ways to get money, which hopefully Clyde Bowen's relationship being his roommate will help him out with that. Then we're talking about this quote-unquote Green Moon Fund, okay, that he's collecting money for. And we asked everyone what they thought about it. Okay, now we're waiting for this woman, Jennifer, who we assume is going to come back in level 15. It says it's going to be continued at level 15. And I believe once I do a little bit more in here, level 15 Jennifer will show up. Okay, so we can find out about her part in the story. Here's Mr. Diego, final in the story. We are finding about his cloak. I'm just going to do quick. Here with Diego, you can read this at a later time, freeze frame, because he has this little Count Dracula story that he wants to share with us. Freeze frame on all of that. Okay, so this is where we at with Diego. This is still a task that we have to do. As we can see, it's marked by that green dot, where we've unlocked a lock so far, because that was 21 orders being filled. Now we need 27 orders to be filled and see what the next step is for that. Okay, so that's everyone. And then Margaret, let's see what we have for her. The last thing that we've done in one of our uploads is she asked us to get a grandfather clock, which this is the kind of money that we need for that. $55,000, and we only have $600. Okay, so that's it with all the characters of my cafe. I hope we will play again together, and let me know what you think of the game so far. If you've started your own cafe, and if you have started your own cafe and you would like to get a township together so that way we can all get bonuses from it, let me know that as well in the comments below. Thanks. See you guys later.